Agenția ONU pentru Refugiați în România și Universitatea de Vest din Timișoara au organizat un curs deschis cu Nick Thorpe, jurnalist BBC. Acesta a discutat despre felul în care situația migranților și a refugiaților este reflectată în mass media, dar și despre cum ar trebui să abordeze acest subiect jurnaliștii.
I think one needs to, first of all, speak to the migrants and refugees themselves. Who are you? Where have you come from? Why did you leave home? Why did you leave now, not last week, not next week? Where are you going? What do you know about the place you're going to? They are the central character of their story, and it's important to keep them in the center. But of course, it's not just about them. It's also about our own societies, people that are employed to help them. For example, the UN Refugee Agency, the International Organization for Migration, the different volunteer groups. I think one of the most interesting things in the past years have been the sheer numbers of church groups, social groups, volunteers who've gone out to help people in their hour of need, who've got organized. And then when people do get refugee or protected status in some way, those same people who are ordinary Romanians, ordinary Hungarians, ordinary Germans are keeping in contact with people, helping people learn the language, helping people, perhaps someone in Iraq had a driving license, but it's not recognized here. Perhaps they had a degree in medicine as a doctor, but that degree is not recognized here, helping them with all the paperwork. So I think one of this great kind of flux, this interface between asylum seekers and the local society, this is also very important. And I think it's been one of the ways where societies have actually been spontaneously, on a human level, helping people who arrive from far away in their need.
Dinamica meseriei de jurnalist evoluează odată cu societatea, iar jurnaliștii trebuie să țină pasul cu aceste schimbări pentru a transmite informații de calitate. Pentru a-și practica bine meseria, jurnaliștii trebuie să aibă mai multe calități.
I normally list for curiosity. If you're not interested in other people, other cultures, other situations, then why be a journalist? You know, get another job. That's fine. Not all of us are born curious, but some of us are curious, or some of us who are kind of less curious can become more curious. So I think curiosity is the most important quality of a journalist. I would list three others. One is empathy. Empathy towards everyone we interview. That can be an empathy towards a nationalist politician who perhaps we don't like, or towards an ex-communist politician, or people of any background, an ordinary person, a farmer whose crop has failed. So I think in order to speak to anyone or persuade anyone to tell their story, because that's what journalism is, stories really, one has to be empathetic to them, whoever they are. Whatever their situation. Another thing we need is energy, not to be satisfied of just going to one press conference or another press conference or one interview with a leading figure or another, but to have a lot of energy, to get up early in the morning and to go out on the street, get out in the fields, to get into the ruined buildings and find out what's going on. And finally, I think bravery. It's quite hard to go up to strangers in the street, even in your own street, in your own town, but even more so in a strange town, and actually say, excuse me, I'm from such and such a media, and can I ask you some questions? I find it a very hard thing to do, but most people actually want to tell their story if they get the opportunity. I think one of the great frustrations that people experience in this age of communication is if no one gets if they're not getting a chance to tell their own story, and everyone has actually a very interesting story to tell.
În zilele noastre, social media facilitează transmiterea informației, astfel că oricine le poate răspândi. Deși mediul online ușurează munca jurnaliștilor, siguranța meseriei de jurnalist s-a diminuat.
I think it's becoming less safe. I think the nature of social media means that any story you write will be attacked. Almost any story. Often the comments being made, if you read the comments on any story that you do, actually they're quite negative or quite hostile, even quite aggressive in some cases. So it's becoming more dangerous to be a journalist, more tiring psychologically to be a journalist. But equally, I think things haven't changed. The job remains the same, which is to collect people's stories and to tell them well. We have an amazing array now of media to do that with the good cameras on our phones, with all the possibilities on Facebook, on Instagram or wherever, of spreading our stories. We can each found our own media, online media, and tell the stories of things that we find interesting. We can share stuff so much more. So to that extent, becoming a journalist has become easier. In another way, it's become much harder because everyone's a journalist now. Everyone can do it. And to do it well, you have to work quite hard at it.
Nick Thorpe este jurnalist BBC și practică această meserie de 34 de ani.